Today on RedX Reviews, a new holy grail to my collection comes into play. At long last, I've got what I have sought after for 20 years. Meanwhile, the negative commenters themselves, the trolls, will stop at nothing to bring my reviews down with dislikes and negative feedback. Does RedX has what it takes to stop being a geek right now and prove to the world out there whether or not that this is actually worth the $49.99 price tag at Toys R Us? Find out next! Finally, after 20 years of building up a legacy, I can decree this the day that I finally have my very first self-owned Power Rangers Power Morpher. Even if it is an updated model of the original, which is right here, which is crap now, I gotta say, finally opening up one out of package myself and not being a used version off of eBay really makes me feel happy. Happy to have this thing in the palm of my hands. I really love this thing. This thing is so, as they say in the shows, more phenomenal. You cannot go wrong with owning a Power Morpher. Whether it is the actual original release or it's the new model. You can't go wrong with either one. If you gotta have the original, go for the original. If you can just hold off on the original and deal with the Legacy Power Morpher, which is a hell of a lot better in my honest opinion, get it. No matter what it takes, by all means, feel free. Just go ahead and throw that money out there to those eBay scalpers. Why not? As long as you get your Power Morpher, you'll know everything will be okay. Besides, as I've learned over the years, money comes, money goes. Suck it up and go blow your dough. Okay? Deal with it. If you want a Power Morpher and you don't have a Toys R Us store around you that's, you know, close by in driving distance, like for instance, mine is about 2 to 3 hours away from where I live. And I'm not going to go drive over there and waste gas only to find out that it's still not in stock there. And don't even think about trying to get this thing off of Toys R Us's website, because let me tell you already, we got some Hawkeyes out there on Ranger Board. And they will, as soon as they see that add to cart flash up on the screen, they will eat you alive to get their hands on one of these. And I've heard there's already been some fights going around. Fights over this thing. Which I can say is well worth it. Hey, it's my honest opinion. Deal with it, okay? And I will tell you how much this is well worth it. Even though this is going to kill more time. I bought this fresh in package at long last for $160 off of eBay. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, I just wasted money. Well, you know what? It's like I said, money comes, money goes. And it really depends on how badly and how quickly you want yourself a Legacy Power Morpher before they run out of stock. Just because this one's out, do you really think that this one is going to lower in the price on eBay? Hell no. If anything, this one's going to go higher now because this is going to be a real sought after collector's piece and it's the vintage. Remember that. But still, like I said, that's my story on this thing. And now let's get to the actual review. I mean, this thing is just like the original. The handle, it comes down. Except this time, Bandai America got it right. Instead of it being this way, they actually turned it this way. Thank you, Bandai. Thank you for not screwing up again. And unlike the original, where there was no on and off, I mean, this does actually feature an on and off switch, which is nice. And the best part about it is it will let you know whether or not it's on or off. Because if it's off, it doesn't do anything. Now, if it's on, yeah, you hear that? The legendary communicator call from Alpha or Zordon. Awesome. You can't go wrong with that. That is just so awesome. It's a nice touch to throw that into the Morpher. Sadly though, if you leave it on, it does not let you know. Like some Power Morphers today from other Power Ranger series, This one, on the other hand, does not have some kind of indicator that will beep around for about 5 minutes to let you know that, hey, I'm still on and you're draining my batteries. So just make sure that it's off if you're not using it, okay? Just make sure that's switched to off. And yeah, just in case you want to know what kind of batteries that this is actually taking, it's the same batteries like this one. But, you know, it's hard to find these kind of batteries today, at least for me. And there is a little bit of a difference, not just because of the scale between these two, which, you know, it definitely confirms that this is 10 inches, or not 10 inches, but 10% bigger than the original. The button on the back, or to the side where you're supposed to activate the Morpher, is not painted red, and you know what? I don't care. I think the black looks a lot better because it just matches with the other side. It just works for me. And I'll go ahead and show off its little gimmick here. So I've already activated it, and when you press down, yeah, you get some sound effects. The first sound effect, which I've confirmed to be true, is actually when the lightning bolt clashes with the Power Rangers logo before they actually make their little roll call they do in the show. Listen in carefully and you can hear it. One more time. That's definitely the lightning bolt. Now, that last one you heard is when they've done their transformation into Power Rangers, which is past this one. So yeah, there's that one. And now the main feature to this thing. It actually plays the freaking theme song. It's called crazy if you want, but really this actually works in also with their roll call, because when they morph, you actually do hear the Power Rangers theme song, instrumental of course, in the background of when they're shouting Mastodon, Pterodactyl, Triceratops, Saber-Tooth Tiger, and Tyrannosaurus, the big bad one himself. So yeah, listen in and enjoy. Pretty cool. I love it. Now, I will be honest with you, like everybody else has pretty much said by now. It is a little cheap on the side of sound effects. You only get like 3 sound effects, and they really do not sound that good. As a matter of fact, they sound pretty terrible for technology today, if you know what I mean. I would have expected a little more for the price of $49.99 when it comes to sound gimmicks. But I digress. I mean, it's the freaking Morpher. You can't go wrong with it whatsoever, no matter what they throw at it to make it bad. In the end, it's still a wonderful masterpiece. And the fact that it's die-cast, it's metal. And these aren't stickers. These are not stickers. These are actually painted or printed on designs. It's the best way that I can put it. This is all painted right here. Painted. I mean, good gracious, this thing is just so phenomenal. More phenomenal, whatever. And yeah, I mean, it does actually throw a little homage to the actual Super Sentai series for Zyuranger, which is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers over in Japan, as you can see. And that's where this comes into play here. The holster, which is an additional piece to this $49.99 price tag. Just simply peg it in, like so. And it's in there very tight. I mean, this is not going anywhere unless you pull it by force. And by that, I mean just like in the show that they do in Zyuranger. They pull down on the handle, and they pull it out like so. And then they flip it around, and they morph. Henshin, or however it is, I don't know. Henshin means transform in Japan. So, there's that. Now for a little problem. As you saw, it was pretty flush when I had it on the Zoo Ranger side, right? Sadly, it is not the same with the actual Power Ranger side. As you can see, there's a huge gap in there. Is that a fault between Bandai with their production? I don't know. I really don't have an answer to that, but I can tell you this. It makes no difference what side it's on. This is not coming out. I can slam this thing if I want to. It's not coming out. The only way this is coming out is if you bring it out yourself by force. I mean, you really have to tug on it. Easy to get to clamp in there, but really hard to pull it out. You really have to tug, and it will finally come loose. Now, why I don't like this holster. It's not because it's plastic on metal, which really weighs this thing down. No. It's not because this really doesn't clip onto a belt, but more of your pants, as it actually does show in your instructions. It's not that. It's not the fact that it actually chips pretty easily. It's not that either. Then what is it, you ask? It's not the actual holster design from the television series, whether that's Zoo Ranger or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from the very first episode it was actually shown and never seen again, which was Day of the Dumpster. This is not what it looked like. It is not. It's close, but it's not. It's missing a lot of detail on the inside. It's missing a tab at the bottom here. And when you put this around on a belt like I've done, it really doesn't look like it's on the belt. It really does stand out. This is kind of a letdown, but you know what? It works. It works for what it's supposed to do. So there's that. You do actually have your 5 power coins, which you can easily pop out and replace, and which I will do. But first I will show you off one at a time. And we'll do this just like the show. Why not? From their roll call when they morph. Mastodon! That's what I'm calling it because that's how I've gone with it since I was a child. To be perfectly honest, I really thought a mammoth was a mastodon. And then of course we've got pterodactyl, which some people say looks like the bat emblem, or at least it reminds them of the bat emblem, and they say it's really cheap. I find it to look pretty cool. And then we got the Triceratops, which is a pretty nice looking one. I mean, look at these Weber designs on this thing. This is just so cool. Definitely shows that it's an old masterpiece. It definitely has a legacy behind it all. And last but not least, the saber-toothed tiger, which is, to be perfectly honest, my second favorite Power Ranger of Mighty Morphin. Sorry, Tommy. It's the honest-to-God truth. Jason being my first. And in order to pull these coins out and replace them with another, you have to push on the back over here. There's a little button on the Z for Zoo Ranger. Or Zayu Ranger. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But you push on it, and there's these little pegs right here. As you can see, they're popping up. That's what pushes out the power coin. And they do actually have the Power Rangers logo on the back, which looks like it's in front of a turbine. The only thing that really ruins it is the trademark logo, but meh, copyright, what can I say? Now to show this off quickly, what's holding the power coins in here is the opposite. As you have these little tabs to push it out, you got these little tabs right here that holds it in place. And when you do insert a power coin, like so, it does stay in there perfectly, nice and tight. So when you're moving around with this thing on your belt, it's not going anywhere. But if you happen to put this in a wrong position, like if it's upside down or crooked, you can actually turn it yourself by using your thumbs and, you know, straighten it out. And it still won't move. It's not going anywhere. As you can see, the coin is not rotating around, which is pretty nice. Sadly, though, the only problem with this is, once again, just like the original Power Morpher, they did not have any different sound features to the coins. You would think that with today's technology, they could like throw in a T-Rex roar or a saber-toothed tiger doing its roar. Different sound features to this Power Morpher would have been a bless, but you know what? I don't care. I mean, it's good for what it is. It's a really nice addition to anybody's collection, and like I said, you definitely gotta have this thing. If there was one thing that I would change on this toy, one thing, two things if I could change on this toy would be this trigger happy little button right here. You don't even have to let it go. If you actually move your thumb because it's in a sore spot, it's gonna go off. It really does. It does not matter what you do. You gotta have your hand constantly on this thing. You gotta hold on to it very nice and tight, because if you don't, just watch very carefully. Look at that. I didn't do anything. It just went off on its own. It's a little too trigger happy, and I really don't like that, but I can deal with it. And the last thing that I would change about this set is this right here. Ages 15 and up, maybe 12 and up would be suitable. I mean, I don't see the problem with this thing. The coins are too big for any kid to swallow, and unless they really let go of this Morpher and drop it on their foot, I mean, they're not really going to hurt themselves besides that. So, overall, I really do recommend this thing. This thing is just, like I said, more phenomenal. And I'll go ahead and put my favorite coin back in there, or my favorite Ranger, because everybody else does. And I know why, too. There's a lot of Tommy fans out there, but unfortunately, there's no word yet whether or not we will actually get a reproduction of this Morpher in gold, and with the actual TRU Exclusive Tiger Zord coin and Dragon Zord coin, and not those crappy American ones that we got back in 1994, if I'm not mistaken. So, hopefully, we can look forward to more special anniversary surprises for Power Rangers in the future from Bandai America. Hopefully, we might actually get that. And finally, maybe we could also get a Dragon Zord for the 2010 line. That way I don't have to keep showing off this picture right here. I never get tired of that. And last but not least, about this whole entire thing, I've gone through everything except for one thing. You actually do get a little special thanks from Bandai America. It says, and I quote, "Thank you for a purchase. Bandai wants to hear what you have to say." Seriously, Bandai? Seriously? You really don't want to hear what I've got to say. Just because you release something very precious and very dear to each and every one of us that is a huge Power Ranger fan and has been dying to get this thing for 20 years now, does not exclude the fact that over the last decade you've been pretty lazy. And I will not forgive you for that, no matter what you toss at us. Not even for Dragon Zord. So that's it, guys. That is the end of this review. This is definitely worth the purchase. If you can get it at Toys R Us, good for you. If you can get it online, good for you. If you have to pay the scalper prices on eBay in order to get a hold of one like I did, do it. Okay? Just do it. It's well worth it. Just don't go over 200, okay? Don't go over 200. Maybe it's not that much worth it. But that's it, guys. That's me, RedX, signing out. Thank you very much for watching this long review, and I will see you next time. So take care, good night, and it is you that keeps the power going.